At the birthday party, my son showed up with a bruise under his eye. I saw it the second he walked through the door, dark purple, spreading from his cheekbone up toward his temple. The kind of bruise that doesn't come from tripping or bumping into something, the kind that comes from a fist. My sister's house was packed. 20, maybe 30 people crammed into her living room and kitchen, all there to celebrate her husband's 40th birthday. Music played from somewhere. Kids ran between adults holding plastic cups of punch. The smell of grilled meat drifted in from the backyard where my brother-in-law stood by the barbecue, wearing an apron that said Grill Master in faded letters. I was standing near the kitchen counter when Danny walked in. 14 years old, wearing jeans and a hoodie despite the August heat. His shoulders were hunched forward like he wanted to disappear into himself. He didn't look at anyone as he moved through the crowd. "Danny!" My sister's voice cut through the noise. She was across the room, holding a tray of appetizers, her face lit up with that performance smile she always wore when hosting. "There's my favorite nephew. Come give your aunt a hug." Danny moved toward her slowly. That's when everyone saw it. The bruise. "Oh my God." My sister set down the tray. "What happened to your face?" Before Danny could answer, her son pushed through the crowd. Kyle was 16, tall and broad-shouldered, with that swagger that comes from always getting what he wants. He wore a designer shirt and expensive sneakers. His hair was styled with too much gel. "I happened," Kyle said, grinning. He threw an arm around Danny's shoulders, pulling him close in a gesture that looked friendly but wasn't. Just taught him a little lesson about respect. The room went quiet for a second. Then my sister laughed. "Boys will be boys," she said, waving her hand dismissively. "They were probably just roughhousing?" "Yeah." Kyle squeezed Danny's shoulder hard enough that I saw my son wince. "Just playing around. Right, Danny?" Danny didn't answer. He stared at the floor. My brother-in-law came in from the backyard, wiping his hands on his apron. "What's going on?" "Kyle gave Danny a shiner," someone said, laughing. "Good." My brother-in-law clapped Kyle on the back. "Kid needs to toughen up. Can't go through life being soft." More laughter. A few people nodded in agreement. I felt my wife's hand touch my arm, a gentle warning. She knew me, knew what I looked like when I was about to do something stupid. I took a breath and kept my mouth shut. Kyle was still talking. "I mean, Danny knows I'm never wrong anyway. My parents always say so." "Right, Mom?" My sister smiled. "That's right, sweetheart. You've always had good judgment." I watched my son's face. He wasn't looking at Kyle anymore. He was looking at me. His eyes were red, like he'd been crying or fighting not to cry. There was something else there, too. Something that made my stomach twist. Fear. "Danny." I pushed through the crowd toward him. "Come here." He pulled away from Kyle and walked to me. I wanted to touch his face, examine the bruise, but he flinched when I raised my hand. So I just stood there, looking at him. "You okay?" I asked quietly. He nodded, but his hands were shaking. My sister appeared beside us, still holding that smile. "Really, it's nothing. Boys get into scuffles all the time. Remember when you and I used to fight as kids?" "We never gave each other black eyes," I said. "Oh, don't be so dramatic." She laughed again, louder this time. Kyle barely touched him. Danny's just sensitive. Kyle was watching us from across the room, that smirk still on his face. He whispered something to one of his friends, and they both laughed. The party continued around us. Music got louder. People went back to their conversations. My brother-in-law returned to the grill. Within minutes, everyone had moved on like nothing happened. But Danny hadn't moved. He stood close to me, closer than he usually did. At 14, he'd reached that age where he didn't want hugs in public, didn't want to be seen as a kid anymore. But right now, he stood so close our shoulders were touching. "Dad," he said quietly. So quietly, I almost didn't hear him over the music. I leaned down. "Yeah? Can we talk? Alone?" Something in his voice made my chest tighten. "Sure, let's go outside." My wife caught my eye as we headed for the back door. She had that look, the one that meant be careful, don't make a scene, think before you act. I gave her a small nod. We went out through the kitchen, past the cluster of relatives loading plates with food, past my sister's perfect suburban garden with its manicured lawn and decorative stones. There was a small grove of trees at the edge of the property, far enough from the house that the noise faded to a dull hum. Danny stopped walking and turned to face me. "What happened?" I asked. "And don't tell me it was roughhousing." He looked down at his shoes. New sneakers, I noticed. The ones he'd saved up for all summer, working odd jobs around the neighborhood. They had a scuff on the toe now. "Kyle did it," he said finally. "But that's That's not what I need to tell you. Okay. He took a breath. His hands were still shaking. This has been happening for a year. The words hit me like a punch. What? Kyle. He's been doing this for about a year now. Every family gathering, every time we're at their house, every time they come to ours. Danny's voice cracked. He corners me, hits me, says things, threatens me. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. A year? Why didn't you tell me? They told me not to. Danny finally looked up at me. His eyes were wet. They said if I told you, it would just make everything worse, that you'd cause problems for the whole family, that I should stop being such a baby about it. They? Who's they? Aunt Rachel? Uncle Tom? Kyle, obviously. He wiped his face with his sleeve. They said it was just discipline, that I needed to learn respect, that Kyle was helping me become less soft. The cold in my stomach spread to my chest. And you believed them? I didn't know what else to do. His voice broke completely now. Tears ran down his face. I thought maybe they were right. Maybe I am too soft. Maybe I do need to toughen up. But Dad, it hurts. And it's getting worse. Today he said next time he's going to make sure I can't hide it. He said next time everyone will see what happens to kids who don't know their place. I wanted to go back inside. I wanted to walk into that party, grab Kyle by his designer shirt, and show him exactly what happens to kids who hurt my son. I wanted to drag my sister outside and ask her what kind of mother protects a bully, but I didn't move. I just stood there, looking at Danny, and felt something inside me shift. My wife appeared at the edge of the trees. She must have followed us out. She took one look at Danny's face and knew. We're leaving, she said quietly. Yeah. I put my hand on Danny's shoulder. This time he didn't flinch. Yeah, we are. We walked back toward the house. The party was in full swing now. Someone had turned up the music. People were dancing in the living room. My sister stood in the middle of it all, laughing at something someone said, looking proud and perfect and in control. She saw us coming and frowned. Leaving already? But we haven't even had cake yet. We need to go, I said. Oh, come on. Don't be like that. She moved toward us, lowering her voice. Look, I know you're upset about the boys' little fight, but you're overreacting. Kyle was just playing around. He wasn't playing around. Yes, he was. You're being too protective. Danny needs to learn how to handle himself. The world isn't going to coddle him. I looked at her. Really looked at her. My sister. The person I'd grown up with, shared a house with, fought with over stupid things like TV channels and who got the last cookie. The person who used to defend me when I got picked on at school. The person who'd stood beside me at our parents' funeral and held my hand while I cried. That person was gone. Or maybe she'd never been who I thought she was. We're leaving, I said again. Her face hardened. Fine, run away. That's what you always do when things get uncomfortable. My wife took Danny's arm and guided him toward the front door. I followed. Behind us, I heard my sister call out, "You're making a big deal out of nothing. It was just boys being boys." We got to the car. Danny climbed in the back seat. My wife got in the passenger side. I stood by the driver's door for a moment, looking back at the house. Through the window, I could see Kyle. He was watching us leave, that same smirk on his face. He raised his hand and waved. Not a friendly wave, a mocking one. I got in the car and started the engine. We drove in silence for the first few minutes. Then Danny spoke from the back seat. "I'm sorry," he said. I looked at him in the rearview mirror. "For what?" "For not telling you sooner. For letting it happen. For being weak." "Stop." The word came out harder than I intended. I took a breath and softened my voice. "You're not weak. None of this is your fault. You understand me? None of it." He nodded, but didn't look convinced. My wife turned in her seat to look at him. "How bad has it been?" "Bad enough." Danny touched the bruise on his face, wincing. Usually he's careful. Usually it's places people can't see. My ribs, my back. Once he pushed me down the stairs at their house and told everyone I slipped. "Jesus," my wife whispered. But today he wanted everyone to see. He said it was time people knew what happens when I don't listen to him. Danny's voice got quieter. He said I belong to him now. That he can do whatever he wants because his parents will always take his side. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. "We're going to fix this." "How?" Danny asked. "They won't believe me. They didn't believe me today. They laughed." He was right. They had laughed. Not just my sister and her husband. All of them. The whole room full of family members who'd watched Kyle smirk about hitting my son and thought it was funny. "We'll figure it out," my wife said, but I could hear the uncertainty in her voice. We got home 20 minutes later. Our house felt quiet after the chaos of the party. Danny went straight to his room. I heard his door close, then lock. My wife and I stood in the kitchen. She leaned against the counter, her arms crossed. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "I'm thinking about going back there and breaking Kyle's face. That won't help. It'll make me feel better. For about 5 minutes. Then you'll be arrested and Danny will have to deal with all of this without you." She moved closer, put her hand on my chest. "We need to be smart about this." "I don't feel smart right now. I feel like I let my son get hurt for a year and didn't even notice." "You didn't know." "I should have known. I should have seen it. All those times Danny didn't want to go to family gatherings. All those times he made excuses to stay home. All those times he came back quiet and withdrawn." I pulled away from her and paced across the kitchen. I thought he was just being a teenager. Moody. Distant. But he was scared. He was being hurt, and I didn't see it. "We didn't see it," she corrected. "And we're seeing it now. So what are we going to do?" I didn't have an answer. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle around me. Around 2 a.m, I got up and went to Danny's room. His door was still locked. I knocked softly. "Danny, you awake?" Silence. Then the sound of footsteps. The lock clicked and the door opened a crack. Danny's face appeared, pale in the darkness. "Can't sleep either?" I asked. He shook his head. "Can I come in?" He hesitated, then opened the door wider. I walked into his room. It looked like a storm had hit it. Clothes on the floor, papers scattered across his desk, books piled everywhere. Normal teenager chaos. Except nothing felt normal anymore. I sat on the edge of his bed. "I need you to tell me everything, from the beginning." Danny sat down next to me. For a long moment, he didn't say anything. Then he started talking. It had started last summer at a family reunion. Kyle had cornered Danny in the garage, accused him of talking to a girl Kyle liked. There'd been a fight. Kyle had won easily. He was bigger, stronger, older. Afterward, Kyle told Danny that if he said anything, Kyle would make sure everyone knew Danny started it. That Danny was jealous and violent and couldn't be trusted. Danny had believed him. After that, it escalated. Every family event became an opportunity for Kyle. A push here, a punch there. Words that cut deeper than any physical wound. "You're worthless. Nobody likes you. You're only here because your parents feel sorry for you. My parents say your dad is a failure and your whole family is pathetic." And Danny had taken it. Because Kyle's parents backed him up. Because the rest of the family seemed to think Kyle was perfect. Because nobody questioned it. "He broke my phone once," Danny said. "Smashed it against a wall, told everyone I dropped it. His parents bought him a new one that weekend. Mine." "Why didn't you tell us your phone was broken?" "I said I dropped it. You believed me." I felt sick. Danny continued. "He's been getting worse lately, more aggressive. Like he knows he can get away with anything. Today at the party, before you got there, he told me he was going to hurt me in front of everyone. He said it was time people saw what he could do to me. That's when he hit me, right there in the living room with people around. And then everyone just laughed." "And my sister knew?" "She was standing right there. She watched it happen. Then she told Kyle he was right, that I needed to learn respect." Danny's voice cracked again. "She said some people are born to lead and some people are born to follow. She said I should be grateful Kyle cares enough to teach me my place." The cold feeling in my stomach had turned to ice. "Your place." "Yeah." Danny wiped his eyes. "That's what she said." I sat there processing it all. My sister, who I'd known my whole life, had watched her son systematically abuse mine for a year, had not only allowed it, but encouraged it, had gaslit Danny into thinking he deserved it, and I hadn't seen it. "I'm sorry," I said finally. "I'm sorry I didn't protect you. I'm sorry I didn't see what was happening. I'm sorry I made you go to those parties and those dinners and let him hurt you. You didn't know." "I should have known." Danny leaned against me, something he hadn't done in years. "What are we going to do?" "I don't know yet, but I promise you this. It stops now. Kyle doesn't touch you again. Nobody hurts you again. Whatever I have to do, whatever it takes, this ends." He nodded against my shoulder. We sat there in the darkness for a while. Then Danny said something that changed everything. "Dad, there's something else." "What?" "Kyle has been recording it. The things he does to me. He has videos on his phone. He showed them to his friends. They all laugh at them." My hands clenched into fists. Videos. Yeah. He says it's proof that I'm weak, that nobody will ever respect me. He says if I tell anyone, he'll post them online for everyone to see. The ice in my stomach melted into something hot and sharp. Does he still have them? I think so. He threatened to send them to kids at my school last week. I stood up. Get some sleep, or try to. Tomorrow we're going to start fixing this. How? I don't know yet, but we will. I left his room and went back to my own. My wife was awake now, sitting up in bed. I heard, she said quietly. Most of it, anyway. I told her about the videos. She closed her eyes. This is worse than I thought. It's going to get worse for them. What does that mean? I didn't answer because I didn't know yet, but I knew one thing with absolute certainty. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text message from my sister. I hope you are happy. You ruined the party. Tom and I are very disappointed in you. Kyle is upset that you made such a scene. You owe him an apology. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it without responding. Another text came through. I'm serious. Call me tomorrow and apologize. This family doesn't need your drama. I turned off my phone. Beside me, my wife said, What are you thinking? I'm thinking, I said slowly, that we're going to need a plan. As the story unfolds, hit the hype button, like, subscribe, and write in the comments. Would you forgive them or walk away? The next morning, I called in sick to work. First time in 3 years. My boss sounded suspicious but didn't push it. I sat at the kitchen table with my wife, both of us drinking coffee that had gone cold an hour ago. Danny was still asleep upstairs. We'd let him skip school. After a night like that, he needed rest more than algebra class. Okay, my wife said, pulling out a notebook. She was always the organized one, the planner. Let's think this through logically. What are our options? Police, I said immediately. She shook her head. For what? Assault? He's a minor. First offense. They'll slap him with community service at most. And your sister will hire lawyers. Good ones. She'll make Danny out to be the aggressor. She'll say he's lying. She'll drag this through court for months while Kyle stays in school, stays free, and keeps doing whatever he wants. So we let him get away with it? I didn't say that. I'm saying we need to be realistic about what the system will actually do versus what we want it to do. She tapped her pen against the notebook. What about the school? They have anti-bullying policies. Kyle doesn't go to Danny's school. He's at that private academy across town. Right, she made a note. And even if we reported it to Danny's school, Kyle doesn't go there. They can't touch him. Best they could do is ban him from school property, which doesn't matter since he has no reason to be there anyway. I rubbed my face. So police won't help. School won't help. What else is there? Family intervention? I laughed. It came out bitter. You saw them yesterday. They think it's funny. Not all of them. Your mom's sister wasn't there. Neither was your cousin James. There are people in the family who might listen. Might. And what happens if they don't? What happens if we go to them and they take Rachel's side? Then we've shown our hand and Kyle knows we're trying to fight back. He'll make it worse for Danny. My wife set down her pen. So what do you want to do? I looked at her. Really looked at her. We'd been married 16 years. She knew me better than anyone. She could read my face like a book. And right now, she was reading something that worried her. I want to hurt him, I said quietly. I want to hurt him the way he's been hurting Danny. I want him to know what it feels like to be scared and powerless and alone. And then what? You go to prison? Danny loses his father? That's what Kyle wins? She was right. Of course she was right. But it didn't change the burning in my chest. There has to be another way, she said. Something that actually fixes this, not just revenge. Maybe revenge is fixing it. No. She reached across the table and took my hand. Revenge is making yourself feel better. Fixing it is making sure Danny is safe. Those aren't always the same thing. I knew she was right. But I also knew that every second we sat here talking about options was another second that Kyle walked around thinking he'd won. Thinking he could do whatever he wanted with no consequences. My phone rang. I'd turned it back on an hour ago and immediately regretted it. 17 missed calls from my sister. 23 text messages, all variations on the same theme. I'd embarrassed the family. I was being dramatic. I needed to apologize. Why was I making this such a big deal? Now she was calling again. Don't answer it, my wife said. I sent it to voicemail. 30 seconds later, another call. Then another. On the fourth call, I answered. What? Finally. My sister's voice was sharp, annoyed. I've been trying to reach you all morning. I know. Well, are you going to apologize? For what exactly? For ruining the party, for making a scene, for attacking Kyle unprovoked. I felt my jaw tighten. I didn't touch Kyle. You might as well have. The way you looked at him, the way you dragged Danny out of there like we were abusing him or something, you made everyone uncomfortable. Good. Silence on the other end. Then, excuse me? I said good. Everyone should have been uncomfortable. You know what should make people uncomfortable? Watching a 16-year-old brag about beating up his younger cousin. Watch your language. Answer the question. There's no question to answer. Kyle was playing around. Boys' roughhouse. It's normal. You're the one making it weird. I looked at my wife. She was watching me, her expression tense. She mouthed the words, "Be careful." Kyle has been hurting Danny for a year, I said, keeping my voice level. He's been systematically abusing him at every family gathering. He's been threatening him, hitting him, breaking his things, and you knew about it. That's not true. Danny told me everything last night. He told me how Kyle corners him, how Kyle tells him he's worthless, how Kyle broke his phone and you bought Kyle a new one, how you told Danny he needed to learn his place. Another pause, longer this time. When my sister spoke again, her voice had changed, colder. Danny is a liar. He's 14 years old with a black eye that your son gave him. He's a troubled kid who needs discipline. Kyle was trying to help him. By beating him up? By teaching him respect, something you clearly never bothered to do. Danny is soft. He's weak. He needs to toughen up. Kyle was doing you a favor. I felt something snap inside me. Stay away from my son. Or what? Stay away from him. Keep Kyle away from him. Don't call, don't text, don't show up at our house. You want to pretend Kyle is perfect? Fine, do it somewhere else. You can't cut us off from the family. Watch me. Mom and Dad would be ashamed of you. The words hit harder than I expected. Our parents had died 5 years ago. Car accident. Quick and brutal. They never got to see Danny grow up. Never got to see what their daughter became. If Mom and Dad were here, I said slowly, they'd be ashamed of you. For protecting a bully, for gaslighting a child, for choosing your golden boy over what's right. Don't you dare bring them into this. You brought them into it, and you're wrong. They wouldn't take your side. Not in this. Kyle is a good kid. Kyle is a monster, and you made him that way? I hung up. My wife was staring at me. That went well. She's not going to let this go. No, she's not. I stood up and started pacing. The kitchen suddenly felt too small. Everything felt too small. We need to do something. We can't just sit here and wait for her to make the next move. What do you suggest? I don't know, but doing nothing feels wrong. My wife was quiet for a moment. Then she said, what if we documented everything, made a record of all the times Kyle hurt Danny? Dates, injuries, witnesses if there are any, built a case. A case for what? We already established the police won't help. Maybe not now, but if it happens again, and it will happen again if we don't stop it, at least we'll have evidence, something concrete. It wasn't enough, but it was something. Okay, we start there. Danny came downstairs around 11. He looked like he hadn't slept much. The bruise on his face had darkened overnight, spreading into a nasty purple-black stain. My wife made him breakfast. He picked at it without eating much. How are you feeling? I asked. He shrugged. Been better. We need to talk about what happens next. He set down his fork. Aunt Rachel called you, didn't she? How did you know? Because she always does. Whenever Kyle does something and people notice, she calls everyone in the family and tells them her version first. That way when you try to tell the truth, nobody believes you. Smart kid. Smarter than I'd given him credit for. What's her version this time? I asked. Probably that I'm lying. That Kyle barely touched me. That I'm exaggerating everything to get attention. Danny looked down at his hands. That's what she said last time. Last time? Last Christmas. Kyle pushed me into the fireplace. Burned my hand on the screen. Aunt Rachel told everyone I was being clumsy. That I was making up stories to get Kyle in trouble because I was jealous of him. Jesus Christ. My wife closed her eyes. Were you? Badly burned? Danny pulled up his sleeve. There was a scar on his forearm. Small but noticeable. 2nd-degree burn. You guys thought I burned it on the stove at home, remember? I told you I was making hot chocolate. I remembered. We'd taken him to urgent care. The doctor had said to keep it clean and wrapped. We'd believed his story about the stove because why wouldn't we? Why would we think our sister's son had done it? "We need to make a list," my wife said. "Everything you remember, every time Kyle hurt you, every injury, every threat, everything." Danny looked scared. "Why?" "Because if this goes to court, we need evidence." "It won't go to court. You said so yourself. The police won't help." She didn't have an answer for that. I took a different approach. "Danny, you said Kyle has videos on his phone. Do you know what's on them?" He nodded. "Some of it's him hitting me. Some of it's me on the ground. Some of it's just him talking about what he's going to do to me next. He liked to plan it out loud, said it made it scarier." "Where does he keep his phone?" "I don't know. With him usually. Why?" "Just thinking." But I was doing more than thinking. I was planning. My wife caught my eye. She knew that look. "Don't." "Don't what?" "Whatever you're thinking. Don't." "I'm not thinking anything." "You're a terrible liar." She was right. I was thinking about Kyle's phone, about those videos, about evidence that could actually prove what had been happening. Not just Danny's word against Kyle's, but actual proof. The problem was getting it. Danny went back upstairs after breakfast. My wife and I cleaned up the kitchen in silence. I could feel her watching me. "Say it," I said finally. "You're going to do something stupid." "Not stupid, necessary." "Those aren't mutually exclusive." She put down the dish towel and leaned against the counter. "If you're thinking about breaking into their house to steal Kyle's phone, that's illegal. You'd be arrested. You'd lose your job. You'd prove Rachel right that you're unstable." "I didn't say I was going to break in." "But you're thinking about it." I didn't deny it. She sighed. "There has to be a better way." "Name it." She couldn't, because there wasn't one. Every proper channel led back to the same conclusion, our word against theirs, and they had money, status, and a family that backed them up. We had the truth, but truth without proof is just noise. My phone buzzed again. Another text from my sister. "You're being irrational. Kyle is upset that you're attacking him. He's just a boy. You're the adult here. Act like it." I showed the message to my wife. "She's gaslighting you," my wife said. "I know. She's going to keep pushing until you snap. And when you do, she'll use it against you. She'll say you're violent and unstable. She'll probably try to get a restraining order." "Let her try." "I'm serious. She's setting you up. Every message, every call, she's building a narrative that you're the problem." My wife was right. I knew she was right. But knowing it didn't change the anger burning in my chest. I spent the rest of the day trying to distract myself. Did laundry. Fixed a leaky faucet in the bathroom. Mowed the lawn even though it didn't need it. Physical work helped clear my head. Sort of. But every time I stopped moving, I thought about Kyle's smirk. About my sister's dismissive laugh. About Danny's quiet voice saying, "They told me not to tell you." Around 4 in the afternoon, my phone rang again. Not my sister this time, my aunt, my mother's younger sister, one of the few relatives I actually liked. "I heard about what happened at the party," she said without preamble. "What did you hear?" "Rachel's version, that you attacked Kyle verbally in front of everyone, that Danny is making up stories for attention, that you've lost your mind." "And you believe her?" Silence. Then, "No, I don't. Rachel has always protected Kyle too much. We've all seen it. But nobody wants to say anything because it's easier not to." Something in my chest loosened slightly. "So you believe Danny?" "I believe something happened. I believe Kyle hurt him. I don't know how badly or how often, but I believe it happened." She paused. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet." "Be careful. Rachel is already calling everyone in the family. She's building support. By tomorrow, half the family will think you're crazy. Let them. I'm not on her side. I want you to know that. But I also can't go against her publicly. She'd cut me off. My kids would lose their cousins. It would split the whole family." And there it was. The real reason nobody spoke up. Fear of disruption, fear of conflict, fear of losing their place in the family hierarchy. "I understand," I said, even though I didn't, even though I thought it was cowardice. "I'm sorry." "Yeah, me too." After she hung up, I sat on the back porch and watched the sunset. My wife came out and sat beside me. "That was your aunt?" "Yeah." "What did she say?" "That she believes Danny, but she won't do anything about it because it might make things uncomfortable." My wife took my hand. "We're alone in this." "We've always been alone in this. We just didn't realize it until yesterday." She squeezed my hand. "So what's the plan?" I'd been thinking about that all day. turning it over in my mind, looking at it from every angle, and I kept coming back to the same conclusion. We document everything like you said. We build a case even if we never use it. We protect Danny, and we wait. Wait for what? For Kyle to make a mistake, for Rachel to slip up, for something that gives us leverage. I looked at her. And while we wait, I'm going to make sure Danny knows how to defend himself. What does that mean? It means if Kyle tries this again, Danny won't be helpless. My wife frowned. You want to teach him to fight? I want to teach him to protect himself. There's a difference. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, Okay, but we do this smart. No rushing in, no stupid revenge fantasies. We wait for the right moment. Agreed. We sat there as darkness fell. Inside, Danny was probably in his room, doing homework or playing video games or just lying in bed staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow he'd have to go back to school, face his classmates, pretend everything was normal, and Kyle would be at his expensive private academy, showing his friends the videos on his phone, laughing about it, planning the next time, not if I had anything to say about it. Sunday afternoon, I drove to my sister's house. Alone. My wife had argued against it, said I was walking into a trap, that Rachel would use anything I said or did against me, that I was being reckless. She was probably right, but I'd spent 3 days watching my son walk around like a beaten dog, and I was done waiting for the perfect strategic moment. My sister's house sat at the end of a cul-de-sac in an expensive neighborhood. 3 stories, perfect lawn, 2 luxury cars in the driveway. The house she could afford because her husband made 3 times what I did. The house that said, "We're successful," to anyone driving past. I parked on the street and walked up the driveway, rang the doorbell. Kyle answered. He looked surprised to see me. Then his face shifted into that familiar smirk. Uncle Dan, he said, drawing out my name like it was funny. Didn't know you were coming by? I need to talk to your parents. They're busy. Tell them I'm here. What if I don't? I looked at him. Really looked at him. 16 years old, wearing expensive clothes, standing in the doorway of his expensive house with that smirk on his face, completely confident that nothing bad could ever happen to him. Then I'll wait, I said calmly. Right here, until they come out. His smirk faltered slightly. He wasn't used to people not backing down. Whatever, I'll get my mom. He disappeared inside. I waited on the porch, counting to control my breathing. 1, 2, 3. Don't punch him when he comes back. 4, 5, 6. Don't grab him by his designer shirt and drag him out here. 7, 8, 9. Don't show him what real fear looks like. 10. My sister appeared in the doorway. She looked annoyed. What are you doing here? We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Then just listen. I stepped closer. She didn't move back, but I saw her tense. Someone sent threatening texts to me last night. About Danny. Specifically about hurting him if I didn't back off. That has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with you, because whoever sent them knew Danny's school schedule. Knew details only family would know. Are you accusing me? I'm stating facts. Someone in this family is threatening my son, and I want it to stop. My sister crossed her arms. Maybe if you'd stop making such a big deal about everything, people wouldn't feel the need to get involved. Making a big deal? Kyle gave Danny a black eye. That's not making a big deal. That's called reacting appropriately to assault. It was discipline. It was abuse. You always overreact? She said it like stating an obvious truth, like I was the problem, like I'd always been the problem. Ever since we were kids, you've been dramatic. You blow everything out of proportion. Mom used to say it all the time. Your brother's too sensitive. Your brother takes everything too seriously. Rachel's face hardened. Get off my property. Not until you listen. Kyle has been hurting Danny for over a year, hitting him, threatening him, breaking his things. I have proof, videos, evidence. And if it happens again, I'm going to make sure everyone sees them. Her expression didn't change. I don't believe you. That got a reaction. Her face went pale. That's impossible. Kyle's phone is password protected. Apparently not well enough. You hacked his phone? That's illegal. So is assault. So is making terroristic threats. So is child abuse. I stepped even closer. Close enough that she had to look up at me. Here's what's going to happen. Kyle stays away from Danny. You stay away from Danny. If I see him at a family gathering, you make sure he's on the opposite side of the room. If he approaches Danny, if he even looks at Danny wrong, I release the videos, all of them, to the family, to social media, to the police, to everyone. You wouldn't dare, and try me. We stood there staring at each other. Somewhere inside the house, I heard voices. Kyle talking to his father. The TV playing in the background. You're bluffing, Rachel said finally. You don't have any videos. I pulled out my phone, queued up one of the videos, turned the screen toward her. She watched for 5 seconds, then looked away. Where did you get that? Doesn't matter. What matters is I have it, and 7 more just like it, some worse. Kyle will say they're fake, edited, that you manufactured them to make him look bad. Let him try. The metadata alone will prove they're real, and the family can decide for themselves whether they believe their eyes or your lies. I've already told everyone you're dangerous, that you've been making things up, that Danny is troubled and you're enabling him. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Nobody will believe you. They'll believe the videos. Maybe, or maybe they'll think you're so desperate to attack Kyle that you'll stoop to anything, including hacking a minor's phone and distributing his private videos without consent. She had a point, a good one, but I didn't let it show on my face. I guess we'll find out, I said. Get off my property, now, or I'm calling the police. Call them. I'd love to explain to them why you're so afraid of videos of your son. Her hand moved toward her pocket, toward her phone, but she didn't pull it out. We both knew why. She didn't want police involved any more than I did. Once police got involved, things became official. Questions got asked. Evidence got examined. This isn't over, she said. No, it's not. I turned and walked back to my car. Didn't look back. Didn't let her see my hands shaking. I'd played my hand, shown her I had evidence. Now she knew I wasn't bluffing, but she also knew I hadn't actually done anything with the videos yet. Which meant I still had leverage. The question was what she'd do next. I got my answer that night. My wife's phone rang around 9. She answered it, listened for a moment, then her face went white. Hold on, she said to whoever was calling. Then to me, it's Danny's friend's mom. Something happened. She put the call on speaker. I'm sorry to bother you, the woman's voice said, rushed and worried. But someone just tried to break into our house. My son said he saw Kyle's car driving by slowly about an hour ago. Then someone tried the back door. We called the police, but they said without proof of who it was, there's nothing they can do. My stomach dropped. Is everyone okay? Yes. The alarm scared them off. But Danny was supposed to come over tomorrow after school. I don't think that's a good idea anymore. I'm sorry. I just don't want my family involved in whatever this is. I understand, my wife said. Thank you for telling us. After she hung up, we looked at each other. Rachel's making her move, I said. Or Kyle is. Same thing. My wife sat down heavily on the couch. This is escalating. Yeah. We need to end this. Now, before someone gets hurt. I know. How? I'd been thinking about that since I left Rachel's house. Thinking about leverage, about evidence, about what would actually make them stop. The videos weren't enough. Rachel had already started building a narrative that I was unstable, desperate, willing to fake evidence. She'd turned the videos into proof of my obsession rather than Kyle's guilt. I needed something more, something undeniable, something public. I'm going to force Kyle's hand, I said slowly. What does that mean? It means I'm going to make him do something stupid where people can see it, something he can't deny or explain away. That sounds dangerous. It is, but it's the only way this ends without us running and hiding forever. How are you going to make him do it? By making him angry, by threatening his position in the family, by making him feel like he has to prove himself. My wife shook her head. This is a bad idea. You have a better one? She didn't, because there wasn't one. We were trapped in a situation where playing defense meant losing, where waiting for the system to work meant nothing would happen, where being reasonable meant watching our son get hurt over and over. So I was done being reasonable. Monday morning, I called my aunt, the one who'd said she believed Danny but couldn't publicly go against Rachel. I need your help, I said. I told you I can't get involved. I'm not asking you to take sides. I'm asking you to invite both families to dinner, neutral territory, this Thursday. Tell Rachel it's a peace offering, a chance to resolve things without drama. Silence on the other end. Then, why? Because I'm going to end this, one way or another. That sounds ominous. It is what it is. Will you do it? Another pause. What are you planning? Better you don't know. That way you can honestly say you were just trying to help mediate. If this goes bad, Rachel will never forgive me. If this goes bad, you won't want to be associated with her anyway." She thought about it for a long time. Then she sighed. "Okay, Thursday at 6, my house. But if this turns into a disaster, I'm blaming you. Fair enough?" After we hung up, my wife said, "What are you planning?" "I'm going to give Kyle enough rope to hang himself." "How?" "By telling him that Danny has been spreading rumors about him at school, that Danny's telling everyone Kyle is scared of me, that Kyle's parents have to fight his battles because he's too weak to do it himself." "Danny didn't say any of that." "I know, but Kyle doesn't, and his ego won't let it stand. He'll have to prove himself, and he'll do it where he thinks he has witnesses and support." At the dinner. She looked at me for a long moment. "You're going to bait him into attacking Danny in front of the family." "No, I'm going to bait him into attacking me." "That's even worse." "Not really. I can defend myself. And more importantly, if he comes after me, he's attacking an adult in front of witnesses. The narrative changes from boys roughhousing to violent teen assaults his uncle. Rachel can't spin that. She'll try. Let her. But everyone there will see what he really is." My wife chewed her lip, thinking, "This could go wrong in so many ways." "I know. Kyle could actually hurt you. I can handle Kyle. Rachel could call the police." "Good. Let her. Let them see the videos. Let them hear about the threats. Let them decide who the real problem is." She didn't look convinced, but she didn't argue further because she knew, like I knew, that we were out of options. This was the play. This was the moment. Win or lose, it ended Thursday. I spent the next 3 days preparing. Not physically, I wasn't planning to fight Kyle unless I had to, but mentally. I rehearsed conversations, anticipated objections, planned responses. I also made sure the videos were ready, downloaded to multiple devices, uploaded to multiple cloud accounts, shared with Marcus with instructions to release them if anything happened to me or my family. Insurance. Tuesday afternoon, I went to Danny's school during lunch, found him sitting alone at a table in the cafeteria. "Can we talk?" I asked. He looked nervous but followed me outside. We sat on a bench away from the other students. "Thursday night," I said. "There's going to be a family dinner at your aunt's house. You, me, Mom, Rachel's family, a few others. I don't want to go. I know, but I need you there, because something's going to happen, something that might get loud or scary, and I need you to trust me through it." "What's going to happen?" "Kyle's going to make a mistake, a big one, and when he does, this whole thing ends." Danny looked at me carefully. "You're going to fight him. Maybe, if it comes to that." "I want to be there. I want to see it." "You will be. But I need you to stay calm no matter what happens. Don't interfere. Don't try to help. Just watch." "Can you do that?" He nodded slowly. "Will he hurt you?" "He might try, but I'll be okay." "Promise?" "Promise." Wednesday evening, I got a text from my aunt. Rachel agreed to the dinner. She thinks I'm on her side. She's bringing Kyle and Tom. I invited a few other cousins too, about 12 people total. Please don't make me regret this. I texted back, "Thank you, you're doing the right thing." She responded, "I hope so." That night, I barely slept, kept going over everything in my mind, every possible outcome, every way it could go wrong. Around 3 a.m, my wife rolled over and put her hand on my chest. "Whatever happens tomorrow," she said quietly, "I'm with you. We're in this together." "I know." "Promise me something." "What?" "Promise me that if this doesn't work, if everything goes wrong, we'll find another way. We won't give up. We'll protect Danny no matter what." "I promise." She kissed me. Then we lay there in the dark, holding each other, waiting for morning. Thursday dragged. Every minute felt like an hour. I couldn't focus on work. Couldn't focus on anything except what was coming. At 5:30, we got ready. Danny put on clean clothes. My wife dressed carefully, like she was going to something important. Which I guess she was. I didn't dress up, jeans and a t-shirt. Comfortable. Easy to move in if I needed to. We drove to my aunt's house in silence. Danny sat in the back seat, staring out the window. My wife held my hand, her grip tight. When we pulled up, Rachel's car was already there. So were 2 others I didn't recognize. Family members I hadn't seen in a while. People who'd probably heard Rachel's version of events and come to watch the drama unfold. My aunt met us at the door. She looked nervous. "Everyone's in the living room. I made it clear that this is meant to be civil. No yelling, no accusations, just talking." "Understood," I said. We walked inside. The living room was crowded. Rachel sat on the couch with her husband beside her. Kyle stood near the fireplace, looking confident and relaxed. My uncle was there, 2 cousins, a few people I recognized but couldn't name. Friday morning started quiet. Too quiet, like the pause before thunder. Danny stayed home from school. We all did. Called it a mental health day. Sat around the kitchen table drinking coffee and pretending things were normal. But nobody was buying it. Around 10, my phone started buzzing. Texts from family members, some apologizing, some asking questions, some saying they'd always suspected something was wrong with Kyle but hadn't wanted to cause problems. I didn't respond to any of them. At 11, my aunt called. "Rachel's been contacting everyone," she said. "She's telling them you attacked Kyle unprovoked, that you're dangerous, that the videos are edited. Let her talk. She's also saying she's going to press charges against you for assault, against whoever helped you hack Kyle's phone. She's called a lawyer." That got my attention. "When?" "This morning. She's building a case. She wants Kyle declared the victim and you declared the aggressor." My wife was watching me. She could read my face well enough to know something bad was coming. "Can she do that?" I asked. "After what everyone saw." "She's going to try. She's claiming you provoked Kyle deliberately to make him look violent, that you set him up, that everything you did was planned to destroy his reputation." "It was." "Well, don't say that to the police." After she hung up, I filled in my wife. "She's desperate," my wife said. "She knows she lost control of the narrative, so she's going on offense." "Will it work?" "Depends on how good her lawyers are." I spent the next hour researching, looking up laws about self-defense, about provocation, about what actually constitutes assault when someone swings first but misses. The legal ground was murky. Kyle had thrown the first punch, but I'd deliberately provoked him, in front of witnesses, who all heard me dare him to prove himself. A good lawyer could argue that I'd manufactured the situation, that Kyle was responding to verbal assault, that he was defending his honor, not attacking me. It was weak, but it might be enough to cause problems. Around noon, a police car pulled up outside our house. "Shit," I said. My wife looked out the window. "Maybe they're just following up on the threats from last week. Or maybe Rachel actually filed a complaint." The doorbell rang. I answered it. 2 officers, 1 male, 1 female, both looking official and serious. "Daniel Morrison?" the male officer asked. "Yes." "We need to ask you some questions about an incident that occurred last night." "Can I ask what incident?" "Kyle Morrison, age 16. He filed a complaint stating that you assaulted him during a family gathering." "I didn't assault anyone. He attacked me." "That's not what the complaint says. May we come in?" I let them in. My wife stood in the living room doorway, arms crossed. Danny stayed upstairs. I could hear his footsteps pacing back and forth. The officers sat on the couch. I sat across from them. "Tell us what happened," the female officer said, pulling out a notepad. I walked them through it. The dinner, the conversation, Kyle's attack, my defense, all of it. They took notes, asked questions, wanted to know if there were witnesses, if anyone had recorded video, if I had any proof of the threats Danny had received. "We have the text messages," my wife said, and there were about 12 people at that dinner who saw everything. "We'll need their contact information," the male officer said. "And we have videos," I added, "of Kyle assaulting my son over the past year." That changed things. The officers looked at each other. "Videos of assault?" the female officer asked. 8 of them, all from Kyle's phone, all showing him hitting my 14-year-old son, threatening him. "We'll need to see those." I pulled out my phone, showed them everything. They watched in silence. When the videos finished, the male officer said, "Where did you get these?" "From Kyle's phone." "Did you have permission to access his phone?" "No." "Then these might not be admissible as evidence." "There's still proof of what happened." The officers exchanged another look. "We'll need to file a report. This is more complicated than a simple assault complaint." "So, what happens now?" my wife asked. "We take statements from all the witnesses, review the evidence, present it to the DA's office. They'll decide if charges are warranted and against whom." "How long will that take?" "Could be days, could be weeks. Depends on the caseload and how complicated this gets." After they left, I sat on the couch with my head in my hands. "This is exactly what she wanted," I said. "She's making it complicated, dragging it out, making us look like the aggressors." "We have witnesses," my wife said. "We have video evidence. The truth is on our side. The truth doesn't always matter, not when the other side has better lawyers." Danny came downstairs. He looked scared. Are you going to get arrested? I don't know. This is my fault. No, it's not. None of this is your fault. If I'd just kept quiet, if I'd just let Kyle do what he wanted, if I'd been tougher, none of this would have happened. I stood up and grabbed his shoulders. Listen to me. You did nothing wrong. Nothing. Kyle is the problem. Rachel is the problem. The family that protected them is the problem. Not you, never you. He nodded, but didn't look convinced. That afternoon, Marcus called. I heard about the police visit, he said. How did you hear about that? I have sources. Listen, you need to be careful. Rachel's going scorched earth. She's calling in favors. Her husband knows people. They're going to try to bury you. Let them try. I'm serious. They have money and connections. You have video evidence that was obtained illegally. In a fight between those two things, money and connections often win. So what do you suggest? Go public, before they control the narrative. Release the videos, all of them. Let people see what Kyle really is. The police said they might not be admissible. In court? Maybe not. In the court of public opinion? Absolutely. And sometimes that's more powerful. I thought about it. Going public meant exposing Danny, meant putting his pain on display for everyone to see, meant making him relive it every time someone watched those videos. I need to talk to Danny first, I said. Do it soon. Every day you wait is another day Rachel gets to shape the story. After I hung up, I found Danny in his room. He was sitting on his bed, staring at nothing. Marcus thinks we should release the videos publicly, I said. Post them online. Let people see what Kyle did. Okay. You understand what that means? Everyone will see them. Your classmates, your teachers, everyone. I don't care anymore. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of pretending it didn't happen. Let people see. Let them know what he is. Once we do this, we can't take it back. Good. I don't want to take it back. I looked at my son, 14 years old, bruised, scared, but also angry. Finally angry instead of afraid. Okay, I said. We'll do it. That night, I created a social media account, anonymous, posted all 8 videos with context, explained what had been happening, named Kyle, named Rachel, named everyone who'd stood by and let it happen. Within an hour, the posts had been shared dozens of times. Within 3 hours, hundreds. By morning, thousands. The response was immediate and brutal. People were outraged. Comments flooded in, calling Kyle a monster, calling Rachel an enabler, demanding justice. Some comments defended them, said the videos were taken out of context, said I was a bitter uncle trying to destroy a good kid. But those were drowned out by the majority. Saturday afternoon, my phone rang. Rachel, I answered. What have you done? Her voice was shaking. Do you have any idea what you've done? I told the truth. You've destroyed him. Kyle can't go to school. He can't go anywhere. People are harassing us. Someone threw a brick through our window last night. You've turned us into pariahs. Good. Good? Good? You've ruined his life. He ruined Danny's life first, for a year, and you helped him do it. We're pressing charges. For everything. Hacking, defamation, harassment, emotional distress. We're going to sue you for everything you have. Go ahead. We'll win. We have the best lawyers money can buy. You don't have the truth, and sometimes that matters more. She was crying now, actual tears. Please, take them down. I'll apologize. We'll leave you alone. Just please take them down. No. Kyle is 16 years old. He's just a boy. You're destroying his future over a mistake. He's 16 years old, and he spent a year systematically torturing my son. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern, and the world deserves to know what he is. I'm begging you. You should have thought about this before you protected him, before you told Danny he deserved it, before you gaslit a 14-year-old into thinking abuse was discipline. Please. Stay away from my family, Rachel. Don't call, don't text. Don't even think about us. If I see Kyle anywhere near Danny, I'm filing charges. Real charges. With real evidence that the DA can't ignore. I hung up. My wife was watching me from the doorway. How do you feel? Like I should feel worse than I do. You did what you had to do. Did I? Or did I just drag everyone down to their level? There's a difference between revenge and justice. Is there? She came over and sat beside me. You protected our son. You showed people the truth. That's not revenge. That's accountability. Maybe she was right. Maybe I'd done the right thing. But it didn't feel clean. It felt messy and complicated, and like we'd all lost something we couldn't get back. Sunday morning, I got a text from my aunt. Kyle tried to hurt himself last night. He's in the hospital. Rachel is blaming you. I stared at the message for a long time. My wife read it over my shoulder. Oh God. Is it my fault? No, he's facing consequences for his actions. That's not your fault. Tell that to Rachel. Rachel enabled him. She protected him. She created a situation where he thought he could do anything without consequences. And now he's learning that's not true. That's on her, not you. I wanted to believe her, but the guilt was still there, heavy and cold in my stomach. Danny came downstairs. I heard what happened. Everyone's talking about it. What are they saying? Some people are glad. Some people think we went too far. Some people think Kyle deserves worse. He sat down at the kitchen table. Is he going to die? I don't know. Would you care if he did? The question caught me off guard. Yes, I'd care. I just wanted him stopped. Me too. Danny was quiet for a moment. But I don't feel bad. Is that wrong? That I don't feel bad he's hurt? No, it's not wrong. He hurt you for a year. You're allowed to feel however you feel about him. Good, because I don't feel bad. I feel relieved, like maybe it's finally over. But it wasn't over, not quite. Monday morning, the police came back, this time with a warrant. They searched the house, took my computer, took my phone, took anything that might have been used to access Kyle's account. You're being investigated for unauthorized access to computer systems, the male officer said, also for cyberbullying and harassment of a minor. I posted evidence of assault. You posted private videos without consent. That's illegal in this state. They arrested me, handcuffed me in front of my wife and son, read me my rights, put me in the back of a police car. My wife called a lawyer. I spent 6 hours in a cell before bail was posted. When I got home, Danny was crying. I'm sorry, he said. This is all my fault. Stop. We've been over this. It's not your fault. But you got arrested because of me. I got arrested because I chose to protect you, and I'd do it again, every time. The lawyer called that evening, explained the situation, the charges, the possible penalties. The DA is under a lot of pressure, she said. Public opinion is on your side, but the law isn't. You did access that account without permission. You did post private videos. Those are crimes, regardless of what the videos showed. So what happens now? We fight it. We argue necessity. We argue that you are acting to protect your son from ongoing abuse. We bring witnesses. We show the pattern of violence. We make the case that you had no other option. Will it work? I don't know, but we'll try. The next week was a blur. Lawyers, court dates, more police interviews, media attention. Our story went viral. Some people supported us. Some people condemned us. Everyone had an opinion. Rachel filed a civil suit. Millions in damages for emotional distress and reputational harm. Her lawyer was good, better than ours. He painted me as obsessed, dangerous, someone who deliberately provoked a teenager and then weaponized the response. Kyle got out of the hospital, went to a treatment facility. Rachel released a statement saying he was receiving help for his mental health struggles. Mental health struggles. That's what she called it. Not consequences for his actions. Not accountability for abuse. Mental health struggles. The trial was set for 3 months out. My lawyer said we had a chance. Not a great one, but a chance. The key is the jury, she said. If they sympathize with Danny, if they see Kyle as a bully who got caught, we win. If they see you as an overreactive parent who took the law into his own hands, we lose. So it's a gamble. Everything's a gamble. Through all of it, Danny stayed strong. Went back to school, faced the stares and whispers. Some kids supported him. Some called him a snitch. But he held his head up. I'm not ashamed, he told me one night. Kyle should be ashamed, not me. He was right, but the world doesn't always see things that way. As the trial date approached, I found myself thinking about what I'd done, whether it was worth it, whether I'd crossed a line I shouldn't have crossed. I'd protected my son, but I'd also broken the law. I'd exposed Kyle, but I'd also destroyed any chance of family reconciliation. I'd shown the truth, but I'd also ruined several lives in the process. Was it worth it? I asked Danny that one night. Yes, he said without hesitation. You stopped him. That's all that matters. You stopped him from hurting me. You stopped him from hurting anyone else. Whatever consequences come from that, they're worth it. Even if I go to prison? Even then. Because you did the right thing. You didn't just stand by and watch. You acted. and that matters. I hugged him, held him close. I love you, I said. I love you too, Dad. Whatever came next, we'd face it together, as a family, and that had to be enough.